Hi, I'm Mike O'Hara, and welcome to DetroitLions.com TV. Tim Twentyman's on assignment down at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. In his place, we have Charlie Sanders, Hall of Fame tight end for the Detroit Lions, former assistant coach, broadcaster, personnel director, friend of many, father of several. Welcome aboard, Satch.
Well, thank you, thank you. It's good to step in for Tim.
Yeah, it sure is. It's probably good for me, too. You know, Charlie, you've been here since 1968 when you came to the Lions as a draft pick out of the University of Minnesota, and you've seen everything. This is the tear-down, build-up phase of the season. You look at what you had last year and you go, they can't play, they can't play, they can't play, you know, they can't play, and all of a sudden you've cut 30 guys. Now you've got to fill in those spots. What's the most important part of the evaluation process? You work in pro personnel now. What do you really focus on?
Well, I think the most important part of this is just to sit down and be honest and just, you know, call it what it is. The guy can or he cannot play. He has the ability, he doesn't have the ability. And once you can come to an agreement, then you can go forward.
How soon does it take the emotion of the season out of it? In other words, so you don't get oversold on winning and undersold on losing and go, all right, take a deep breath, guys. Now let's get into the reality of this process.
Well, and you've just gotten to the honesty part that I was talking about. And you bring up a good point, because sometimes it can take a while. You can have the pain or the sting of a certain game that a guy played, or a certain mistake that he made that may have cost you a game. Those things are hard to overcome. And the sooner as a staff that you can take situations like that and put them to the side and start concentrating on making the team better, then the better off it is. But it's not an easy process.
Well, I understand that. I asked one of your old head coaches one time, do you ever just going to get mad and cut again? He says, yeah, but if I did that, I wouldn't have anybody on Sunday.
You're absolutely right.
So, you know, you've got to cool it. But the other part of that is, and we've got the Senior Bowl and the Combine and all that, you've got to replace them with free agents, and whoever you bring in, you've got to draft them too. Which do you focus on first? I know that the evaluation process of the incoming rookie class is going on, but which takes precedence in your estimation?
Well, you really have to concentrate and build your team on the draft. And you're either going to have success as an overall team based on your draft picks, or you're not. And that's why it's critical that you turn over every rock when you get into drafting, because you don't recover from drafts. Free agency is a fill-in, it's a Band-Aid. And rarely do you find a free agent that's going to come in and be the difference maker. You maybe had one or two of those guys. Reggie White was one of those guys.
1993, maybe the best free agent ever.
Exactly. So a lot of people want to emphasize the importance of free agency, but when it really comes down to where it's going to take your team to the next level or not, it really doesn't have that much of an impact. It's your draft pick.
You know, I think in your team, the way it's constituted right now, you've had 4 or 5 guys who were key signings under this regime. Maybe Kyle Vanden Bosch, Justin Durant, and Stephen Tulloch on the defensive side, and then maybe Nate Burleson and even Will Heller on the offensive side, guys who brought in and filled roles. But you need more than that, don't you? Well, we're talking about 5 out of 22 starters.
You're absolutely right, and you use the word they fill in a role. Rarely do you find a guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl. They are guys that fill in gaps, and again, you have to be very careful in what you expect from free agency, and you get caught up into overpaying. And that's the biggest mistake that teams make. They overpay for expectations that they never get.
A couple things I've got written down here. The Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. I'm sure the practices are more important than the games, but what do you look for when you're scouting a prospect?
Well, the good guys are already there. You know who the good guys are. You've scouted them during the course of.
A lot of the good guys aren't at the Senior Bowl too.
Exactly. So you're looking for to verify what your scouts have told you or reported back during the course of the year. The thing that I think the Senior Bowl or any other bowl does more than anything else, it gives you an opportunity to look at the guy or find the guy that's not heralded, that's not. Sure. Part of this. Willie Green was one of those guys. You know, he went down to a bowl game, and all of a sudden he was shining. This
played 10 years in the league.
Yeah. So that's, to me, is the value. The guys that are good, are on the chart, they're going to always be there.
You know, we're going to a kid who's going to get reams of publicity, especially here in Detroit, is Denard Robinson. Played quarterback at the University of Michigan. Now he's being asked to make a position switch if he wants to play in the pro game. Seen guys who've done it. Randall L., you know, played at Indiana, had a good career with the Steelers predominantly. When you look at Denard, what do you see? And let's not write him on or off right now because that's not fair to the kid. But what do you see, and what sort of hurdles does a player like that face?
Well, when you look at him, you see a tremendous athlete, a very talented,
genuine football player.
He is a football player, yeah. And you take that into consideration. On the downside, you start profiling, if that's a correct word to use, in terms of how is he going to fit physically when you look at the stature of him? How does he fit into the pro game? Because this is a game of speed, it's a game of size, it's a game of a lot of other things other than talent. You know, the talented guys that have the other things that go along with those are the exceptional athletes. But the one thing that stands out about this kid, he's a winner. He knows how to win. He is going to contribute if given the opportunity in the right situation.
Real quick, the play clock is winding down. If a couple of spots you could plug into this team real quickly, just the position, what would you do?
Well, you got to go corner. You got to go. We keep talking about a shutdown corner. You know, they're hard to find, but if you had your druthers, you'd have to have that shutdown.
And pass rusher too, but could you ever get enough?
Defensive end. I think inside is the nucleus of our team right now. So I think you have to start building around your defensive tackles.
Charlie Sanders, another Hall of Fame effort by you. I'm Mike O'Hara. Thanks for being with us. Tim Twentyman will be back next week.